The dual triangles are here. XYZ Eldlich, Synchro Zombie Eldlich, Fusion Super Poly Eldlich. I also experiment a bit with pure Synchro Zombies and some branded Eldlich. The dual trials in general have been a lot of fun, basically as an excuse for me to test out a whole bunch of different kinds of Eldritch builds. So I just want to show some replays, having a lot of fun. A 58 card deck. I mean, I guess he must have just deleted like his grass and some other card that was banned in this event, but okay. This was a pretty fun duel though. All of these duels you're going to see have fun gameplay. I'm going to go through the deck lists as I go through the video. So these first four duels will all consist of the Eldlich XYZ deck, where I sprinkled in a bit of Dia Bellstar. All right, so what have we got? Reasoning. Okay, what are we going to mill? Okay, a little bit of engine. And the Golden Lord himself. All right, so we set non-targeting graveyard banish, non-targeting field pop, a board, set, and we have follow-up. So overall, pretty solid. Okay, we're dealing with a standard branded, a Thunder Dragon branded player. Okay. So they have two Thunder Dragons in hand, and now they have another card they just drew. Okay, they've got branded fusion. So here, what I'm trying to do, I'm gonna just banish the Fallen of Albaz before he can make Lubellion and Mirror Jade. Unless he has Albaz in hand, he's gonna have to make a really subpar fusion monster. What you gonna make? I thought he might have even made the Thunder Dragon, but instead he fuses one of the Thunder Dragons in hand that has a effect when it's banished. So he gets a search off, and he's going to start punishing me for activating effects. Okay. So here, I don't want him to use Bestial Lebellion to set Branded Beast and then threaten to destroy a card. So I'm just going to destroy it now. He sent Branded Opening. So any fusion monster that I tried to hit, for example, if I tried to destroy Albion first or something, he would have been protected. But we're going to destroy this. He doesn't get a search. It costs me 600 life points, though. Okay. Summons out that. So here, I thought he would have just used Thunder Dragon Fusion right away to make one of his one of his Thunder Dragon Titans, because he already has Colossus, which is like a floodgate and has destruction protection, and then he could use this to make his other Thunder Dragon. How many? I see. Did he only have? Okay, so I guess maybe he didn't have enough Thunder Dragons yet? I don't know. But anyways, he just makes it using the other effect where it special summons by banishing. He sends it back, but now he's got two of these big, very hard to destroy dudes. Thunder Dragon Titan works similar to what's it called? The Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle, where if they do something, they can chain. But what you can do is you can interrupt that chain so he doesn't get an effect. Right now, he's going to try to destroy probably my back row. So instead, we're going to flip everything face down. He doesn't get any destructions, and both of my resources are going to become available for next turn. Goodbye. Comes back. So these do have a bunch of big monsters, but we'll see how we can handle them. Here I set rollback because I'm planning to XYZ with Eldlich, and then this will be good fuel to bring him back in another interruption. So what did he set with branded? Okay, he set branded banishment. All right. Evenly matched, kind of useless right now. All right, this is the XYZ event. Well, XYZ into Gustav Max 2K. Use the rollback as fuel to come back. XYZ again into Juggernaut. So here, there was kind of an interesting game of chicken I was playing. He, at any point, can summon back one of his fusion monsters, and if he does that, then he'll be able to super poly my field, which I'm afraid he'll super poly my Eldlich with like one of his light monsters into a mud dragon. So it'd be banished and removed, then he gets another monster. So my plan was actually transaction rollback onto an ice dragon's prison to interrupt whatever he grabs. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. He can attack once for every monster they have. So here, I think I make a pretty big mistake. He summons himself using his effect. So I think what I should do here is try to banish his Waquero. Sorry, to banish his Masquerade using my Waquero, because then if I do that, then he obviously doesn't come back from the grave. I know he has this, which can special summon any fusion monster. And my plan is basically I can kill him if I can Ice Dragon's Prison into this monster with 2500 attack. So instead, I chain it wrong. I use Ice Dragon's Prison first to grab him. Now he dodges using that, so now I'm forced to banish or he'll super calling me. And he also has a Bestial in hand, which might have made this entire play moot anyways. He chooses to banish something else that'll get him a resource instead, but yeah, so I'm probably misplaying a bit here. I think I had a chance to kill him. But he doesn't get to super poly my field or anything. I'm still going to destroy this guy. He gets a search off, attack, attack. If this guy had been in attack mode, it only would have done 500 damage, so he still would have been alive. We XYZ into Constellar Pallades, so once per turn we can detach a material target a card on the field, return it to hand. This is great against a Thunder Dragon player because all of his fusion monsters can't be destroyed, so being able to target and return to hand is fantastic. Also, Zeus obviously is a full board wipe. So not bad in terms of like on-field interruptions. And then Eldlich is obviously indestructible. All right, he's forced to make the Colossus because both of his Titans were in the grave. All right, he fuses into the Titan. It only gets effects when Thunder Dragons are activated from the hand. Okay, so now we're in a not a great spot. My plan had been to wait for him to activate one of his Thunder Dragon cards and then chain my Constellar Pallades to both make it so that the Thunder Dragon doesn't the Titan doesn't destroy anything, but also it gets returned. However, I waited too long and was able to get a search off for one of the Thunder Dragons. That's a quick effect. So now I can try to return him to hand, but he's going to be able to chain to get another one, and now he gets to destroy something. Here, he actually chooses to destroy himself, which is an odd choice, but he does get to gain additional resources because he does that. I guess he must have been really bricked, so even if he destroyed my Zeus, I guess it wouldn't have mattered. Here, it's basically a draw four if all cards in hand were useless, so, not bad. All right, now he's got some Bestials. This is not good. Yeah, I'm kind of at this point, it's like he has too much of a grind game. I need him to waste as many resources as possible before I Zeus. And the fact that my Eldritch is indestructible means that I'm kind of willing to wait a little bit before being forced to activate. Everyone else is sent to grave. Okay, so he doesn't have any more follow-up, but it's not a good spot. He searched out a Druis Worm, which can banish my Eldritch when he tries to summon, but that's why my elixirs are great. I can not only make it so he doesn't summon Druis Worm, but also my Eldritch, doesn't get banished. Here he chooses not to try to banish with Druis Worm just because he knows that I have my Elixir. But the problem with doing that is now my Eldritch is at 3,500. Destroy that. He's forced to do this or he dies. I think he gets another search. Destroy. He sends me to grave. And now, why maybe the math works out where he didn't have a choice, but now I can just activate an elixir and summon another Eldlich, and he didn't have any more bestials in hand, so he dies. Really fun game. I think of the different decks, the XYZ Eldlich variant is probably the strongest, just because partly because of your competition. Like, I think this Eldritch deck that I'm making doesn't do great against like Kashtira and Pearly. So the fact that you default don't need to fight them is pretty nice. Also, some of the XYZ plays you're capable of making fun. All right, what's going to happen in this duel? We're going first. Set 5 pass. You'll love to see it. Predaplants. Okay, so there's some sort of a fusion situation going on. Uh-oh, Garden King Chimera. So he's going to get a draw 2 and a destroy. So here we can just banish that tier card before he gets to do anything. Summon an Eldlich. We're kind of hoping that he's going to destroy my transaction rollback, and he does. Great. Good luck. Okay, all right, you have a big monster, so you can destroy a single card, but that's not going to help you next turn. Especially because we're going to do this. Trap Trick, evenly matched. Real nice board you have. Be ashamed if it was all banished face down. You don't summon because we want to roll back into evenly matched. Everything's gone. Goodbye. Thank you. Come again. So now we don't have a great board right now, but they have nothing. Um, yeah, they're a fusion deck, so you need to have like two monsters plus a fusion spell. So next turn, if they said anything, Eldritch is going to take it out. GG's. Swordsoul. That makes sense. Yeah, I think in general, like obviously I'm going to show you a bunch of decks. In two duels, I'll show you the XYZ deck, for example. But unlike the decks that I take to master rank, these are tested a ton. It's mostly just like the theory crafting behind it. But that's also why I enjoy these events so much, right? They're just opportunities to experiment and test things out. So I don't want you to look at the decks I show you as like the definitive end all be all versions of these decks. Just like I want you to think of them as starting points for you to be able to experiment with different types of decks that you want to play around with. All right, so we did mill Eldritch Engine, which is not bad. Non-targeting destroy, non-targeting banish, board wipe, board flip. Pretty solid. And it only took us like 20 seconds to set up that board compared to a lot of other synchro decks. Like, think about the Swordsoul end board, right? The Swordsoul end board is a monster negate and an omni negate. Like, would you rather have that, or would you rather have two board wipes, and all these other interruptions, and faster too? So here, Torrential Tribute on the makes it so they can't summon the Barone. Banish this guy. Here, this is probably a little premature. Maybe I should have just let him summon and activate his defect, and then use Conquistador to destroy the token. Um, yeah, but I guess I just had a surplus of resources, and I also kind of want him to do a bunch of stuff so that I can use the Karma Cannon to reset everything. Yeah, and he scoops before he even got to Karma Cannon. Easy money. What do we got number 4? What the some sort of a Galaxy XYZ deck? Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of these rules I'm showing from the XYZ perspective are mostly us going first and with zero floodgates, by the way, just annihilating their board, just knowing when to use the correct interruptions to make it so they can't do stuff. And we only need to have enough interruptions that we're able to, defeat them. This is still. Oh. I'll go back and show you the XYZ deck after this. Looks like we're switching over to Synchro here. Okay. Alright, what are they doing? What they doing over there? So here I wait until they get four monsters on the field to Karma Cannon them. I want to make sure they're completely out of plays, especially once they get two level 8s. Like when they have two level 8s, then they can make like the spell Trap Negate or the monster that can set up like a one turn 9,000 damage insta kill. Yeah. We flip everything face down. I also don't activate the Elixir because I can just search an Eldlich with my Eldland. And okay, so it does something to get the search off. Yeah, so between with this board setup, I'm able to get both an Elixir and a Golden Land trap in the graveyard. So I have full follow-up for next turn. And we can use our Elixir to summon out the Doom King. Non-targeting banish, monster negate. Not exactly a lot of synchro plays here, but that's kind of the thing with Eldlich is like they don't really need their extra deck, but that also gives you a lot of flexibility for all the different types of text that you can fit in there. Monster negate, yeah, sure. Monster reborn, okay. So yeah, they were gonna try to make an XYZ monster. I just say no. Yeah, they're so done here. There was nothing they could do. I didn't try to be greedy to wait for them to activate a monster negate so I could use the other Doom King effect. I was just like, nope, goodbye. And their turn was over. All right, so let's do the first deck profile. We're going to start doing a lot of these. Okay, XYZ. So here they nerfed, what order is it? Wanted down to one. So honestly, the wanted package is probably subpar in this deck, but you know, like I said, I'm just fooling around. We have the Diabell Star. She can search out either a, you know, thing to take a monster out or a targeted Omni Negate, and also just the standard Eldritch stuff. You always want Solemn Strike, destroy any monster, just say no. The standard ratio of Eldritch traps, 3 Conquistador, 2 Huaquero. So glad Conquistador is at 3, by the way. Like, it was so annoying when it was banned or limited down to 1, down to 2. Like, this just helps the deck a lot out. 3 Elixir, always good. Triple Torrential Tribute. We can just destroy everything really easily. Um, and then Lord of the Heavenly Prison is great. It gets you a search. It's a free body. We only have 2 in this 40 card deck because we're trying to fit in the Diabell Star package. We don't want too many monsters to interfere with reasoning. Foolish Burial Goods, you can send any spell to the grave, including Transaction Rollback, which can obviously copy any of our super powerful traps. You obviously saw the Evenly Matched play. Evenly Matched is a great going second card. Whatever, this is all pretty standard stuff. A Called by the Grave to make sure our reasonings go off. Cursed Eldland, get a little bit of a search. Standard stuff. I won't go into too much detail into the cards I already covered as I go through other decks. Nice Dragon's Prison obviously is great removal. Karma Cannon is fantastic. It resets your traps. It turns their turn off. So the main XYZ monsters you need are Constellar Pallades. You can use any 2 level 5 light monsters, which are the Golden Land traps. They're all level 5 light monsters. So you get 2 times detach a material, target a card, return it to hand, which is great in this event where you're dealing with a lot of decks that focus on extra deck monsters. If you have to face any fusion decks with really annoying fusion graveyard things like Mirror Jade or Rukalos or something, or things that are hard to destroy like a Chen Ying or whatever, Colossus, great removal. And obviously, the other important piece is the Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. You make 2 of these, you kill them for 2k, then you rank up into this guy. You can hit them a number of times equal to the material, which is 2. You'll detach 1, so it's going to be 2. So I guess he'll have what, like 2 or 3 materials. I don't know, but he can attack like up to 3 times per turn or something. Clear their board, or if they don't have any monsters, you can attach a material, make it have 6,000 attack, and just like swing into them. So it's easy to kill them. And then finally, Zeus is really good. So anytime you attack with a Constellar Pallades or maybe a Rail Cannon, then this is just a non-targeting, send everything to grave. It's kind of a staple in this sort of event. You absolutely need it. Other cards that we're just kind of trying out. Tyrus, a level 5. This card cannot be destroyed at the end of the battle phase. Target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. So it's a nice way to get removal if like you already used your Pallades or something. Probably the ideal is just to have three Pallades and three of the rail cannon guys, but whatever. Another just generic level 5, detach an XYZ, target a card, destroy it. Volcanosaurus, I use this in my budget Eldlich deck. You can target a card, destroy, inflict burning damage, target a couple of set cards, destroy them. This one is an interesting choice. You almost would never have three level 10 monsters on the field, but if you want to destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls, then it can be a nice option to go into. And then we have the Sky Palace detach, inflict battle damage. The Ravenous Tarantulas, you can kind of XYZ into these one at a time if you want to stack a number of them on top of each other. You can actually go, I think you can go this guy, and then this guy, and then this guy, and then Zeus. So you can easily make a whatever four, I guess like six material Zeus if you have two level 10 monsters, and your goal is just to make a Zeus. We also have a Galaxy Eye Cipher Dragon, and which just has a lot of damage. The opponent cannot target it. And a Tistina, which some people have recommended that I even put into my main Eldlich deck. So it has a nice tech option. You can detach material, gains 2,000 attack. If this card you control is destroyed by opponent's card, you can special summon, I guess, itself from the graveyard. Um, Let's see. I thought it had another effect. Oh, send all face down cards your opponent controls to the graveyard. Okay, yeah, so it could take out a bunch of traps, or if you used Karma Cannon, it could take out their monsters. It's an interesting idea. The plus it has against Zeus is that Zeus sends your own cards to grave as well. So there might be some niche situations where it comes up, but obviously these are a lot of ultra rares. If you didn't already have them, I probably wouldn't invest in them. But yeah, that was my XYZ deck. Now let's take a look at the synchro stuff. So we saw one synchro duel. We'll see, I think, three more synchro duels. We'll see. Hmm. I think this is the duel. Yeah. Okay. This is a really fun synchro duel, if it's the one I think it is, which it probably is. Yeah, I was talking about XYZ is probably the best Eldritch deck out there just because of the matchups and the extra deck is pretty straightforward. Um, I went with a couple of different synchro decks. I went with one that was like didn't even have Eldritch in it. It was like pure zombies, pure going for synchro. I'm not as familiar with those types of decks, so I don't know how optimal it is, but I'll still show you. Maybe people in the comments will say, "Oh, you should use this instead," or "You should try that instead." I'm very open to learning. My expertise, or whatever you want to call it, is more in kind of more of the back row versions than kind of the combo synchro heavy versions. Here, this seems like it's a huge mistake. So this hero player, I have to banish all but they have to banish all but one card. Like, just hold on to your trap and use it as an interruption. I think they have that hero fusion monster that can destroy a couple of cards or something. Oh, I guess maybe because the other monsters are banished. I don't know. I don't agree with this play, but it's their choice. Am I actually going to get to do anything? No. Yeah, there's too many Ash Blossoms and Imperms. That's kind of a downside to these more combo heavy synchro style decks, is just they care about hand traps, and that's annoying for someone who usually has decks that don't care about hand traps. Okay, he can destroy all my monsters, which I don't care about. I don't have a lot of monsters that are important right now. Okay, go off. I'm gonna wait to use Karma Cannon until I am forced to. So yeah, there I'm forced to. He's gonna destroy all of my traps. However, If you flip everything face down, none of them get destroyed because it's the number of other hero monsters you have. And at the time, they had zero because they're all face down. Now, that being said, unlike against like an XYZ deck, when you flip all their monsters face down, they can still use face down monsters as fusion materials. We're not in great shape though. They're going to destroy everything. I was surprised they didn't destroy the zombie world. Um, like, I guess they wanted to be able to do more damage to my life points. They get to destroy one card when they declare an attack. Um, but yeah, they don't destroy the zombie world, which I think is going to be a huge mistake for them. We draw into the glow up bloom. This is a great example of why sometimes synchro decks can be great, though. So here we summon out Eldlich. We have the glow up bloom. Um, what I could do here is I could like try to crash the glow up bloom into the vision hero so then it can search out the Doom King. But this sunrise can destroy one card on the field if there's an attack declared. So like when I do that, he can just destroy the zombie world. So then my Doom King is just stuck in my hand and it's like useless. So he actually has a pretty strong grasp of the board. My Eldritch will be indestructible for a turn, but they can start doing a bunch of stuff probably on their turn, and then the turn after that, like I'll be dead. That being said, we're not any old um, deck. We're a synchro deck, and this is a tuner, which means we have a level 10 and a level 1. We only have 2,200 life points. We summon the Psychic and Punisher. And because Glow Bloom was sent to the graveyard by, Synchro Summoning, that means we get to use its effect to get out the Doom King. So now we get a negate and a vanish. And we have the Punisher, which is unaffected by our opponent's activated effects, and it's going to gain like a billion attack. And because right now it's treated by a zombie, it's only unaffected by our opponent's activated effects. When it activates its effect to gain life points, we can chain and use Doom King to straight up banish this guy so he doesn't even get to destroy anything when an attack is declared. So he had 8,000 life points, and now he's literally about to die instantly. He has this card, which can destroy a random card. Okay, we're just going to negate you. And you're gone. Goodbye. See, that's a lot of fun. Psychic and Punisher is great for, you know, ending your opponents. What was this? Duel number 6. I think this is still synchro against a fusion deck. Yeah, that would make sense that it's not the fusion variant yet. Yeah, I tried out a synchro version that uses mostly just standard Eldritch stuff, but then has just enough synchro things to be interesting. But here I'm trying a version where I'm like, okay, I just want to get a bunch of resources in the graveyard. In order to do that, I'll use my dangers. So I just kind of replaced a few zombie monsters in the synchro deck that I'm going to show you with danger monsters so that they can just either special summon and like combine with tuners to make synchro monsters, or like they pitch our cards to graveyard, whatever. Probably not optimal, but this is the fun part, right? It's experimenting. So I have this like crazy, wacky, patched together synchro deck against like almost a full tier board. I guess they didn't get Rukalos, but yeah. Feather Duster is gonna even things up though. They only get one search off of all that, which is surprising for a tiered deck. But we negate it. Send a good option. Jackabolin. So Jackabolin can discard a zombie to special summon, which we care. I feel like I care more about the discarding than I do like anything else. During their turn, I can special summon a zombie, but we'll just probably set up the zombie world. Nice. Now the Doom King's coming back. Take out that monster. Less opportunities to fuse. This allows you to special summon a zombie from hand, which is not as good as being able to summon a zombie from your deck, obviously. But it also has a graveyard effect, which is nice. We're just going to banish that. There, I could have used the Jackabolin to special summon some monster from either graveyard, but I didn't. Forgot. Doom King versus Tyr. What will you do? The zombie world is pretty nice here. It makes it so a lot of their fusions are a lot harder. Here, I decided to banish the Kishtir monster because he can, if I choose to negate it, then he would have just banished my Doom King. So I just want him off the field, and now my plan is I'm going to negate the Unicorn. However, he also had another level 7, so I might be in trouble here. So I have to negate that, or else he'll get Birth, and then he'll grab my, the Unicorn. He rips my. Here I thought he would have XY. Oh, he can't XYZ because he's a fusion deck, duh. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so there I actually could have just made the Psychic End Punisher immediately. He surrenders before I start like sending zombies to grave as well. A lot of fun. Okay, pretty sure that there's one more synchro duel. Nope, no, that's it. Because obviously this is against a synchro deck. All right, so let's check out the synchro deck profiles real quick. All right, first here's the main synchro deck I was using. Triple Unizombie, this is kind of a great starter. You can Foolish Burial any monster from your deck to the grave, and it's a tuner. Those are kind of the main abilities that it has. It has a lot of flexibility, which levels you want it to be. If you want it to remain at 3, you can make like your opponent's monsters gain levels or something. I also like the Plague Spreader zombie because it's really easy to summon out from grave if you like mill it or send it with a Unizombie or a Foolish Burial. And then it comes back and it's a level 2. You make it with like using a level 8 or maybe a level 10 or whatever, a level 3, 4, 5. You have a lot of flexibility. I like it. Obviously, the full Zombie World package. The Doom King is great if there's a field spell, it comes back, it gets a negate, it gets a banish. If it's responding to a zombie, the Zombie World is kind of crucial to this combo because it means that your Doom King keeps coming back, and it also means that it gets to negate or banish whenever your opponent activates a monster effect. Small Eldlich package, just standard stuff. Huaqueros, Eldixirs, standard control build, Torrentials, Karma Cannons, Solemn Strikes, a couple of rollbacks along with the Foolish Burial Goods. Obviously, the Burial is to send a rollback. Obviously, the Eldlich and Curse Soiled Land, which can get you to Eldlich, are also ways to be able to discard your rollbacks. Evenly matched, you already know what it is. And then the extra deck is kind of cobbled together. You could use the Plague Spreader Zombie along with the Doom King, or you could use a Conquistador plus a level 5 Unizombie to make any of these like level 10s. We have a level 9, which has a nice effect. You have this level 8, which can summon back a level 2 to make a level 10. So if you have access to making a level 8, you have access to making a level 10. It's a nice kind of enabler. This level 7 gains attack. Immortal Dragon is kind of the standard synchro one that you want to go into. I don't think this deck is built very well to be able to utilize it, but it's like gives you an additional Foolish Burial every turn. Chen Ying is great. Bestial Dissipator. Chaos Angel, I have a couple of them because you could just make them off of having multiple Golden Land traps. You have your level 11s, obviously the Psychic and Punisher, you know them, you love them. And I have a couple of level 12s. Obviously, you have Crimson Dragon, which if you have Crimson Dragon plus any other synchro monster, then you can go into it. The idea is like if you have like Eldlich plus a Plague Spreader or like a Doom King plus a Unizombie that only like sent a monster from deck to grave, then you could make your Crimson Dragon, and then Crimson Dragon could copy like your Barone or something in order to make like a Dissipator or a Chen Ying. So it's kind of like gives you flexibility. We also have the Final Sigma. It's unaffected by your opponent's effects, sort of like Psychic and Punisher. It can't gain as much attack in the same way as other stuff, but it can inflict double battle damage. So it's another way to kind of end things. Yeah, I thought that was a fun deck. And then obviously there's also this more pure synchro deck. I think I copied this from the internet like months ago. I don't fully understand it, but it's you have the Assault Synchron, which is another thing that can special summon from hand, and you instantly have a level 2 tuner, which is great. It works with your Doom King to instantly make a level 10. It goes with your Chang'Shi, which you want to banish, usually using the effect of Gozuki. So you get your Gozuki in the graveyard, banish your Chang'Shi, and then it comes back. Your Chang'Shi comes back, and then this also special something from hand. So there's a full kind of Gozuki Chang'Shi combo that I'm still trying to work out. Obviously, there's some Shiranui cards. The Shiranui Solitaire is mostly just another way to get into Unizombie. Ash Blossoms are nice. It's just another way to trigger your Doom King, for example, another zombie that has an effect. A couple of like Twin Twisters and Card Destruction as just ways to get cards out of your hand into the grave, because a lot of them have graveyard effects. And then Shiranui Style Success can special summon a monster from your hand. And it also has this other effect where you can banish it, and then one zombie monster is unaffected by like any of your opponent's card effects, for example, which can be really nice. Then in the extra deck, some differences from the other synchro deck. We have a Doom Kaiser, which you can make with your Plague Spreader Zombie. I never really used this. Herald of the Arclight, like maybe you have like a I don't know, some combination, like some level 3 into level 1. I don't know. In hindsight, probably shouldn't be here. Let's see. Red Eyes Zombie Dragon. What's nice is you could make a Skeletal Dragon Felgrand, which is a level 8, and then after that you can get a level 2 to make a to make the level 8 plus the level 2 into a level 10. And once you have that, then on your opponent's turn, then this guy can summon back your level 8, which gets you a banish. So it's like a combination for sure. I'm pretty sure this is like a pretty mediocre synchro deck compared to the potential it has, but I just don't understand the combos enough. But this is sort of a starting point that you can hopefully use to start experimenting with this type of deck. I think this is like a fine starting point. All right, finally, let's go into the fusions. I feel like I have a little bit more of a ability to speak with some authority in regards to like fusion builds, but it was definitely nice to experiment with synchros because this festival and these festivals in general are great opportunities for you to test out decks where, you know, even if they're optimized to the max, they might still have a lower ceiling than something that you might take into the ranked ladder. And it's especially true for someone like me who plays like in master rank all the time. But the festival's going to go on for a couple of weeks, so if you have suggestions about better ways to build a synchro deck, let me know. I'm curious to hear what you're doing to experiment, how you're having fun, how I can build it up. All right, so here they're building pretty standard synchro board. Red Dragon Archfiend. Let's see. Okay, we have the cards we need in hand to completely wipe their deck, assuming they don't have an Ash Blossom. So we don't really care what we draw. We do care if they have an Ash Blossom, though. I'd prefer if they didn't, personally. Okay. Yeah, so they've got the big thing is obviously this is like a monster negate. If they shuffle back one of their cards in the banish pile, these spells all give them a lot of recursion abilities to recycle monsters if they get destroyed, or recycle monsters that get banished, or to destroy some of your cards. So this is actually like a solid board, but what we really care about is the level 9 synchro. This can negate any card on the field, similar to the Sinful Spoils trap, where it's that kind of an Omni negate. So we want to kind of play around it. And the way we're going to play around it is basically we never want to activate a card that we think they're going to negate. Or we could draw Super Poly. That would also help a lot. However, in this case, my first play is going to be to try to banish their whole field face down. So first, let's send an Eldlich. They don't negate it, which is probably the right thing to do. I mean, what's so threatening about a little foolish barrier of goods? Like, come on, man, come on. Wait for me to activate a Raigeki or something. Foolish Burial of Goods. Yeah, come on. You don't need to negate that. If they had an Ash Blossom, they probably would have negated one of these, but they didn't. So now we're able to pop off. And at this point, there's kind of nothing they can do. We don't summon the Eldritch, obviously. Battle phase, banish everything face down. Man, like, obviously, I like to show the replays where I pull this off, but the thing is, my builds pull it off a lot. Like, try it for yourself, man. I saw someone else posted on Master Duel Meta a while ago that they like used a similar version of the deck as me, and they did that play where they banish your opponent's entire field face down like 5 times when they climbed to Master One. So yeah, I'm telling you, it's so fun. Okay. We also obviously had a lot of follow up with their whole field banished face down. We had an Eldritch in hand, which was going to be able to discard for Super Poly. Oh yeah, this is funny. So I was experimenting a little bit with an invoked engine, which invoked does have good synergies with Eldritch. What you want for a deck that needs an invoked engine is something that's a little bit more control-y. And in fact, with the new Link 2 invoked monster, you can actually set up pretty easily a board where you get a single like monster negate and your opponent can only activate one monster per turn and only attack once per turn. So with that setup, then if you also have a deck that can control in other ways, like with Eldritch, where you get tons of pops and stuff, there is actually good synergy. The issue with this event specifically, though, for having an invoked Eldritch deck is in order to take advantage of the invoked engine, you need to have those link monsters. You need to have Artemis or Almirage or Secure Gardena so that you can have summon your Alistair and then fusion first into um obviously the main guy, your invoked Mechaba, and then after that fusion into your Caliga using like the Link 2 to get an extra, search off and blah blah blah. So because you don't have access to those link plays, it's a lot weaker. So in this version of the deck, I'm running like Gamma, I'm running Ash Blossom. It's just ways to get extra like light and fire monsters in the graveyard as targets for our fusion plays. I'm also running Guardian Chimera in this deck. Like you can make Guardian Chimera using Invocation. Okay. So we've got Invoke Mechaba, which is a monster negate probably and banish. The other nice synergy is like once you use the field spoil as a search, you kind of don't need it anymore, so you can just search out an Eldritch. So what do we have here? We have a Indestructible Tower. We have a non-targeting destroy. We can negate a search, and we can negate and banish a monster. So like yeah, it's kind of like this is kind of the best version of this invoked deck within the fusion event, but it's like it's not bad. All right, resonators or archfiends, I guess. Okay, so I'm not really scared of what they're going to do now. This guy was about to summon 2 resonator monsters from the deck. I'm like, okay, that's way too much advantage. You've had your fun. Be gone. They don't have the level 3 in their grave yet, which can protect their monsters or their cards in general from being destroyed. So when they have enough materials now to make the level 9 Omni Negate, I'm like, no. No, thank you. I'm just going to take out the monster that they're most easily going to make synchros with. They have 2 tuners and 1 non-tuner, so we're going to take out the non-tuner. that card was about to special summon itself from graveyard. It's a level four non-tuner, so that would have allowed them to make like a Synchro 6 or 7 or something. I'm just like, no. Nope, you don't get to do that. Try again. All right, so they don't do anything. They're hoping I don't have any follow-up. The issue is I actually grabbed my Alistair like from the hand last turn. Well, I guess I discarded one of them. Anyways, I have an Alistair, which is gonna grab an invocation. It's gonna banish an Alistair and an Ash Blossom, and it's gonna make where is he? This guy, Purgatrio, which is fantastic in the invoked deck. It allows you to instantly kill your opponent. It can attack um each of their monsters. It inflicts piercing battle damage. It does a lot of damage. I'm not going to do a deck profile for my invoked fusion deck because this is the only duel I'm going to show, but you're kind of getting to see basically the gist of it. The big thing is the invocation decks and mostly Purgatrio and in Mechaba. But yeah, I was about to, instantly kill them. They would do like 2,500 damage to this guy, like 2,000 ish damage to that guy, and then all these guys swing. Yeah. So as soon as I summon Alistair the Invoker, they immediately surrender. I think at some point, maybe in ranked, I'll make like a invoked Eldlich deck. It'll be fun. We'll see. What are we doing? Oh, I remember this duel. This was funny. Yeah, so we're going up against an Exosister deck, which can be annoying, especially if they go first. They can banish like 3 or 4 times on your turn if they get like the best possible version of their hand. Another reason why I think the XYZ version of Eldritch is probably strongest, just because you get to avoid some decks that are kind of maybe not the strongest in general, but are tough matchups specifically for us to deal with. Summon, summon. Yeah, they've kind of got everything, but I mean, you already know how it's going to go, right? I mean, this is a great hand. We can get our rollback in the grave. We can banish basically all their face downs, probably. And then we get tons of follow up with reasoning. Bye. Here I have my toggle set to on, so as soon as whatever I summon hits the field, whether it's an Eldlich or a Despia monster, I can instantly fuse it away, and they can't respond. And yeah, they surrender there because like I'm about to search out um the Despia monster who searches out branded fusion, and then I'm about to, yeah, so they were just toast. There was yeah, they had nothing. That's a lot of fun. The nice thing about using the fusion version of Eldritch is that you get access to Super Poly, and Super Poly specifically kind of makes the rest of the fusion stuff like it makes up for any kind of weaknesses because your opponent can't respond. And it's like you're trading like 3 cards basically. Like you get rid of 2 of their most important monsters, then you get a monster that might be able to do something. It's pretty nice. What are we dealing with here? Yeah, I was running into a lot of these Archfiend decks, so I was kind of surprised. Yeah, I couldn't tell you the first thing about what they're doing right now. I just know, like, that's kind of the way I treat a lot of combo decks is like, okay, what is the end board though? So, like, okay, I don't know what you're doing, but at the end, you have this card which can get them follow up. They have this, which is an Omni Negate. They have this, which, like, if it's sent to the graveyard, they can get follow up again. In the graveyard, they have this destruction protection. This guy can summon himself back out. So, like, they have a lot of follow up, but they don't have a lot of interruptions, which, you know, everyone can have their own thing. So here, I'm going to kind of force their negate out. If they don't negate my cursed Eldland, then Eldritch is going to send one of these cards and take out their Omni Negate. He doesn't negate it. That was a mistake. Called by the Grave? Nope. He negates Cursed Eldland, but I already used the effect. No Ash Blossom. Okay. Yeah, these types of mill Eldritch decks are a lot of fun because you can get so many additional resources. Negates my Eldritch, that doesn't work. So here, I don't think I even should have attacked him. Like, because he has multiple things that give him follow-up. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have just waited until next turn. We've got a Waquero, we've got a Conquistador, we've got a board wipe. Do I have a rollback in the grave? No, but we can send a rollback using Barilla. All right, how are we going to respond to this? Yeah, obviously we'll just destroy. Okay, so we have to banish this guy in the grave first, because otherwise he'll protect him from being destroyed. And then after that, we can destroy this, and then they don't get any more follow up with it. Okay, more searching. So here they could have made a level 10 because it's a level 2 tuner, and then this is a both of these are level 8s. So I don't want them to make like a Baron de Fleur or a Chen or anything. I just want to flip this guy face down. Both of these guys were summoned last turn, so actually you can flip them both face up. So this Karma Cannon is basically the same as like whatever, destroying a single monster. How are they responding? Oh, that's funny. Okay. So if you control level 8 or higher Synchro monster, banish all monsters on the field except the monsters with the highest level. Also, remaining face-up monsters on the field are unaffected by other card effects except their own. So he did that. I had the highest level monsters, so my Eldlich monsters are the only ones that don't get banished. Um, Everything's banished forever, by the way. It's not like banished until the end phase, I don't think. Um, but this would have been really interesting. So banish all monsters except the two highest ones. Those monsters are unaffected. I used Karma Cannon, which we've seen a few times already. For example, in my last video where I got to Master 1 and defeated a Psychic and Punisher in like the preamp on the duel I did just before my rank up game, you can use this to take out monsters that aren't affected by other cards' effects. The issue, and then they use this trap, which makes it so my Eldritch monsters are no longer affected by other cards' effects, so they're not going to get flipped face down. Therefore, Karma Cannon needs to send them to grave, right? Wrong. Because this trap card banished all other monsters on the field, nothing was able to get flipped face down. It's like if you try to use Karma Cannon and your opponent only has Link monsters, you can't use Karma Cannon when they only have Link monsters because nothing will get face down, flipped face down. In order for this effect to work, um, first, you need to flip at least one monster face down. Then, any monsters that are still face up can get sent to grave. But in this case, no monsters got flipped face down, therefore it doesn't have an effect. So this would have been a way to get rid of all my monsters, but instead, they're both just sitting here. And then I have Marilla, which can mill whatever I need, like another rollback something. Oh man, that was fun. Okay, pretty sure that was the last one, right? Yeah. Okay, let's go into the fusion decks that I was experimenting with this tool, with the experimenting with. First, we have a pure fusion deck. It's pretty similar to some of my other mill decks. We have Elemental Burst, which you can use to destroy all cards they have. We have triple Super Poly and a small Zombieworld package as just a way to fuse things off, get extra recursion. Because you have Zombieworld, you can make everything zombies, so you can Garura more easily, or I think, yeah. Um, well, you can Draco. You can use a Drago Necro Nether Sword Dragon, Nether Soul Dragon. That's a mouthful. You can fuse more easily when they're under Zombieworld. You can also obviously make the Mad Golden Lord. Um, the extra deck here is entirely Super Poly targets. So let's go over some interesting ones. Obviously, you need Garura and Mud Dragon. Between Garura and Mud Dragon, almost every deck you're able to fuse with them if they're either both the same attribute and the same type, or if they're same attribute and different type. If they're all zombie monsters, obviously this can fuse any two monsters. If they're all zombie monsters, you can use one of your Eldliches plus any level 5 or higher monster that they control. If they have 3 dark monsters, you can use this boy. 2 dark monsters, you can use this boy. There are plenty of dark decks out there. Dragostapelia. This would have to be with your own deck because you're never going to play against a fusion deck. However, Borreload Furious Dragon is great. There are plenty of um, XYZ decks like Galaxy Eyes and Synchro decks like the Resonator Archfiend decks where they put up a bunch of dragons. So this is actually a really good tech with this meta that you're seeing. Quintet Magician is kind of a meme, but it's possible you go against like I don't know, like a Dark Magician or Exosister or something. Some Dogmatica, some deck where they have 5 spellcaster monsters, and you could fuse their entire field and then blow up all the other cards. That would be funny, but um, the first Dark Lord, I wanted to find some sort of a fusion target that hits Hurley. So they're all fairy monsters, and half of them are dark. So maybe this would come up in a case where you're really, really about to die, but probably not. Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon, just in case you run into a Blue Eyes deck. And then Panzer Dragon. So supposedly there's some like TG synchro decks where you would be able to fuse this guy if they have machine monsters and dragon monsters. Um yeah, so these are kind of like the interesting super poly targets for this meta. This is definitely an area where you can do a lot of experimenting. I'd be curious to hear types of cards you're using. Obviously, we also have fusion duplication to copy super poly from the graveyard, which can be kind of fun. And then finally, I have like a branded fusion deck that I was using for this event, similar to the branded fusion deck that I showed in one of my previous videos. Guiding Quem, you can special this if you sent Titaniclad off of Mirror Jade, and it can get you follow up either by sending a spell to grave or something. In general, I don't think this vent is great for branded Eldlich type decks because they limited Elbaz to 1, and that's a card that I would like to I would prefer to run at like 3. They limited Aluber down to 1, and they banned the counter trap that allows you to grab cards from your graveyard back to your hand. So if you mill a bunch of cards using Reasoning or something, or Fiend Comedian, then if you milled your branded fusion, then you're going to have a hard time accessing it without the counter trap that can get it back from your grave to your hand. That said, you can use Despian Tragedy as a way to recycle your traps that are in your grave. And you can also use fusion duplication to copy, in addition to your polymerization, you can copy branded fusion. You could even use a rollback to copy a fusion duplication in order to copy a branded fusion if you milled all those cards. So you have some ways to access those resources. And then in general, this is just kind of the same type of mill deck that I've been running, where you have a little bit of extra Eldritch Engine. This is just a way to kind of recur extra resources. Branded in red, you can use to make your different fusion monsters that you want. Torrential Tribute, blow up the board. Needle Sealing, also blow up the board. I don't think it's as necessary in this festival events meta. It doesn't seem like there's as many decks that summon out the wazoo. I don't know. Marilla, evenly matched. Crap Trick, Ice Dragon's Prison. Branded Banishment. This is a great card to search if you get your Albion in the graveyard. It can summon back any of your fusion monsters that get destroyed. It can super poly with their field. It's not bad. Also a target for transaction rollback. We also have Draco Utopian Aura. Aura. It's kind of just a generic staple that I like to fill out some decks where I'm having trouble figuring out what other cards to add. Because we're using reasoning, I don't want to add too many extra monsters. And Utopian Aura is basically the same as Solemn Strike, except you can't negate monsters that aren't on the field, which is a little bit worse. But you also get to you don't have to pay life points, which makes it a little better. It's great going second because they could set up like 3 or 4 monster negates, which doesn't really happen in this format. But it would be. It's kind of a nice generic staple to have. Any other fusion choices I made? We have Albion, so you can fuse that by using Guiding Quem plus Fallen of Albaz to special summon monsters from your grave, such as Fallen of Albaz. Obviously, the Golden Lord himself, Rimbrum. I don't have a target, so you can't actually fuse using the cards I have in the deck. You would have to use like a. Oops. You'd use like Mercurier to have like an extra monster negate. It gets effects when it's banished. But we're kind of going light on that because we're throwing in like the Zombieworld stuff and the Eldlich stuff. However, what it is nice is you can send it to grave using Mirror Jade, and then it can banish itself in order to special a Fallen of Albaz to get another like super poly off. Masquerade is another great target for Super Poly plus an Elubers. Same with Guiding Despian Quiritis. Titaniclad is a great target for your Fallen of Albaz because it can fuse with any monster that just has like a lot of attack. And you can also send it off Mirror Jade to special a Guiding Quem. Great. Okay, so that has been the try whatever, the Duel Triangle Festival. I've had a lot of fun experimenting with different Eldlich decks, different Eldlich variants in this kind of lower ceiling environment. I hope that you take this as a way to like have watched interesting gameplay and also as a jumping off point for you to start experimenting with versions of these decks that you might be interested in. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.